Today we're going to be having a look at the mod Basileia Romaion, which I'm almost definitely pronouncing wrong, but is essentially the formal title for the Byzantine Empire. Look, they're even called that in-game. And look how big the Byzantine Empire is. Look at all these cool vassals they have. Wouldn't it be so much fun to play as them? Well, we're not going to. Instead, we're gonna slip across to the New World. And you can see, oh, look at all these small countries. The one we're going to be playing as is this one, the Duchy of Elysium. These are a Hellenic religion country with their own Elysian culture, which is in the Elysian culture group. They do speak Latin with the Elysian version of Latin, apparently. There is a few other countries here that are also Elysian. We have these guys here, Duchy of Elysium, which is a similar culture in the same culture group, but they speak Greek and they follow the Orthodox faith, together with another one here. But we won't be playing as any of them. Instead, we're going to be playing as these weird Hellenic folk. So let's go. In fact, before we do, let's turn Iron Man on. No achievements, obviously, because this is a mod, but you know. Welcome to the new world, gentlemen. So before we begin, this mod is rather bare bones, so not a lot has been done. For example, Hellenicism is just like it is in the normal game, that being, it has nothing. Well, outside of its base bonuses, which are slaves can work, raw resources, inventory power plus 5%, and skill of new artist plus 10. Very weak bonuses overall, and then with no religious aspect. It doesn't even have any unique advancements. So we'll be relying on the base stuff. Now, we do have some unique government reforms though. We are a new world colony, which means we can recruit explorers, we can invite settlers, we're allowed exploration missions. Exploration costs 50% less, and we have a high population growth. One thing of note is we don't actually start with a parliament, which is kind of bad, and it will cost us. So one of the things I kind of like to do is select patrimonialism as a reform. It does have a lot of negatives, but it essentially means we can switch to this, we'll get the assembly government, and then we can switch out of this and remove the negative effects and keep the assembly government. Or at least that's how it worked the last few times I did it. Will it still work that way? Well, I guess we'll see, won't we? So we'll select this. Immediately gives us the assembly parliament here. And then for our next reform, we'll grab autocracy, or autocracy, as some people call it. Are you an autocrat, aristocrat, or an aristocrat? You tell me. We start with a few reforms with the other states. Is there anything we really want to hand out? Since we're kind of alone in the new world, it might be best for us to empower our nobility to get our noble levies and normal levies up, as well as our levy efficiency, just so we can fight better and conquer everybody, because this is going to be one of those we're just going to conquer everyone around us sort of styles of doing things. Since we are the only country of our religion really in the area, we're going to have a lot of wrong culture, wrong religion pops. So it might be worth empowering the nobility so that they can convert faster. Something like getting more clerics in our towns and cities and pushing towards spiritualization. Spiritualism will help with that. Spiritualism increases the conversion speed, but decreases the assimilation speed. But I think conversion is going to be our priority here instead of conversion. So we're going to grab religious advisory council. We're also going to grab religious land rights for the extra clerics, and I think that's all we'll grab for the clergy. For the burghers, we're definitely going to grab control over monetary policy, treasury rights, and we're going to let burghers build our roads. We're probably not going to build much. Our main priority is going to be colonizing. We're not going to give anything out to the peasants because we already start with the best reform with common militias, and we're not going to do anything with the tribes. Our goal for this episode is really just to form Elysium. Wouldn't that be cool? Which means we're going to need to conquer 97 provinces in this area, as you can see. So that's just what we're going to do today. As I said, this mod doesn't have that much content because it's very new, but we'll do our best. If I recall correctly, everyone kind of hates us because we have antagonism from before the game started. We've got around 100 antagonism with our neighbors, so there's a good chance a coalition actually forms against us. Our ruler is actually really incompetent as well. Look how bad his stats are. We kind of want him to die quickly, but there's also no women in the new world, so there's no one to marry. We could marry a lowborn for -10 legitimacy, and we might just do that. Like, we're going to spend our legitimacy on anything else. I kind of don't want our ruler to just die so that we can keep his cool Fabian dynasty. We also don't start with any laws selected, so we need to decide on these. Since we don't actually plan to take any vassals, it's a good idea to actually push for centralization. So we're going to do things like get the central council. We're also going to grab polygamy, so when women do appear in the New World, we can marry a lot of them. Going to have a large harem. We also start with a lot of tribesmen in our country, because as you can imagine, we're in the New World, so we're kind of going to want to convert them to peasants as fast as possible. So we're going to assign one of our cabinet seats to doing that. The other one we're going to assign to strengthening our government until legitimacy hits max, and then we'll transition to something else. We're also going to start improving relations with the nearby nations. We'd like to dissuade them from forming a coalition if that's possible. There's a good chance they'll all just start killing each other, so we won't really need to try to do anything. This nation here is actually Hellenic. We might try to vassalize them, and they'll probably be our only vassal. So we can form an alliance with them straight away, so let's do that. They're one of the only tribes here that doesn't hate us. I think we're going to unpause now. But I'm going to have to wait a little for our laws to all come online, so we'll just wait for that to happen. We do have quite a large levy army of 1,000, which puts us at a stronger point than pretty much everybody around us. But if they gang up on us, they might win. We'll need to be a little cautious. It's too bad these other Elysians hate us, because they actually have a female ruler, so we could essentially marry her and form a marriage union, but they hate us, so we can't do that. And there's also the fact that they're Orthodox, and we're pagans. They won't marry us anyway. There, all of our laws have now come online. I did want to switch out of patrilinealism, as I mentioned, but for some reason we can't. Even though we meet the requirements. I guess we need to do all 3 of these. I do recall removing it before. Maybe something changed. There was a patch, like literally today, I think, that changed things a little. I'm not sure if that was the mod though. One of the things we could try to do is bring down our number of burghers so that we're no longer meeting the requirements, but I think we'll leave it. It just puts us down a cabinet seat and reduces tax efficiency and a stately equilibrium, which is all pretty bad. But, you know, making the bad decisions makes things more fun. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to leave it as is. We are going to give out a privilege to the nobility though, because we've reduced the overall satisfaction of them. We'll give them elite council. That will decrease the stability decay. We'll ignore the tribes. We don't really care if they're unhappy. We'd rather convert them all into non-tribals anyway. We're now going to marry a lowborn just so that we have a wife. It's going to cost us a little prestige and legitimacy. And there she is, our wife. Hopefully we have some children, just so we keep our dynasty. We're also going to be looking for available women here amongst the Native American population. We're actually going to start colonizing immediately. We're going to start colonizing this province up here, which is kind of just the only location separate from this existing province where there are native countries. Our first parliamentary session. What do we want to do? We really want to sponsor urbanization, because it will just turn one of our existing locations into a town, for free, essentially. So we're going to go with that. We are going to need to do something to make these guys happy. We're going to hope for a good event that gives us the opportunity to increase it. Otherwise, we'll have to change a law for -12 stability. Ah, there's a nice event. Now we're really close to passing this law. We managed to have a son. Huzzah! What should we call him? Oh no, let's call him something random. Cassios sounds like a good name. We're 6 days away from this law passing. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get a lucky event. We're going to need to bite the bullet and a change policy for -12 stability. This will give us the aristocratic court law, which will make the nobles a little happier, but it will increase the cost of the court, which we don't really want, but we'll survive. This location immediately becomes a town, although that provides us much benefit in this early stage. We don't really have the resources to invest in it. We do have to keep an eye on the Native Americans. They actually outnumber us quite a lot, and they will massively outnumber us once we start taking territory. Speaking of taking territory, we've managed to avoid a coalition against us, so we're going to look around for the weaker Native Americans like these guys here, who don't have any allies, and then we're going to conquer them. Unfortunately, I don't think we can make a casus belli on them to actually conquer them. The only one we can create is this tributary casus belli, which I don't think lets us annex them. Maybe it does. I haven't tested it. But instead, we're just going to bite the bullet and do a no-CB war. The best kind of war, really. Although they have insulted us, does that let us conquer them? Let's see. Let's test it. We have the insulted casus belli, so let's just declare war. We won't call in our allies because we don't really need them, and we don't want to risk them occupying the land for themselves. We'll raise our levies. There's 1,000 of them, which isn't many, but when compared to these other Native American peoples, that's basically billions. And then we'll march straight for their capital. Nice and easy. Stack wipe them, and then we'll occupy them. And then let's see, can we annex them? Looks like it. I guess we'll take as much money as we can from them. We're going to need money for colonizing. And there we go. Our first victory. Huzzah. As I mentioned, we are going to have a hard time keeping the natives down. Not necessarily dealing with their rebellions, but more trying to avoid them rebelling entirely. Because there's a lot of tribals in these lands, and they don't like us. In fact, they hate us. We let the month tick, we'll see that their happiness drops to 0. 50% of that 0 is from being conquered, but another 25-ish% is from our tolerance of their religion, which is essentially 0. There's not much we can do to really stop that tolerance outside of just converting them. Even if we accepted their culture, it wouldn't really help counteract that. So they're going to stay a little rebellious just forever, kind of. Is there anyone else who's weak and pathetic? No, this guy's only got one ally. We might want to just declare war and eat them both together. Another child has been born. This time, another son, in fact. Are there any, do we get any women from conquering that nation? No, it doesn't like it. Too bad. We've almost finished converting all of the tribals in our capital. Once we do that, I guess we'll start coring. There's a good chance we're not going to finish coring before we complete our objective, though. Coring takes a long time. We finished our colony here. Now we're just going to immediately declare war on these other guys here. They have an ally in the form of these people. We're going to call in our own ally. We don't have a CB, so we're going to take the no CB cost of 20 stability, but we're already at around 24 stability, so it's not a big deal. Might just push us into the negative a little, but it didn't. We're going to raise our levies. Since there's no forts, all these wars are going to be nice and quick. We're just going to go in, going to kill them, going to occupy their lands, and the war will be over, just like this. We're going to full annex them, both of the main nation and their friend. It's going to give us a lot of aggressive expansion, but there aren't actually that many nations around, so if we can keep our aggressive expansion low... Well, no, so we don't need to keep our aggressive expansion low, right? We can just conquer willy-nilly-ish. These guys, our ally did scoop up one of the provinces, but I'm kind of okay with that. We're very close to vassalizing them. Ah, there we go. We've converted all of the tribal pops. We're actually going to increase diplomatic endeavors for a little bit. I really just want to buff my stats that maybe potentially could get these guys to accept vassalization, because we're very close. Our current strength is what's dragging us down. If we could increase that, or I guess increase our base tax. But that's not something we can really control at the moment. It's only 5 away. Oh well. Let's stop improving our relationship, as it were. Let's instead core something. We have we've already got this land is mainly all cored, so we'll start coring this one, I think. We're actually going to assign somebody. I normally avoid assigning somebody unless they're a member of the ruling family, but in this situation we kind of want to core faster, more so than anything else. One of the Native American tribes is actually defeated here. These guys don't have any allies. Maybe we'll just jump them right now. It's going to put us into the negative when it comes to stability, but that's not too bad. Negative stability just increases the pop's willingness to join rebellions and decreases noble satisfaction, but it'll increase back up, which will kind of just a problem that will just solve itself. Let's raise our levies again. This might just be how it goes. We engage in a state of near constant war until we're the only one left. Grab them. These guys have a lot of cities, but it shouldn't be a big deal. Every time we occupy a province, we also get a bunch of slaves because we're a slaver religion. So that's even nicer than it might ordinarily be. We'll full annex them. Take all their gold. Levies are no longer needed. Are our friends willing to become our vassal now that we've expanded? Apparently our current strength is -1. Probably because our levies need some time to replenish, I imagine. Doesn't like it. Oh well, I guess we'll wait a little and check again. Yeah, there we go. We're back to having -5. If we assigned our current cabinet officer to increase diplomatic endeavors, it would increase it by around 2. We need a little more than 2. We need 3. Let's start colonizing again. We're going to colonize this guy up here. The real problem is colonizing costs quite a bit of money, so we need to be careful not to bankrupt ourselves when doing it. It is very tempting to just spam colonies everywhere, but as I said, we'll need to be a little cautious of that. Time for another cabinet mission. I kind of favor these ones that expand our RGOs without us having to do anything, because we want to devote all of our income towards colonizing, really. So we're not going to invest much in our RGOs. So if the game did it for us, that would be nice. Question is, which RGOs do we want to expand? We could expand this one, which has fiber crops, which would apparently has a profit level of 2, but I'm not sure I believe that. But we could also expand these guys that have tobacco. Tobacco is probably worth it, so we'll go with these ones. We by default have enough parliamentary support, so we won't even need to do anything unless a negative event happens. And if a good event happens, we might be able to do something else. Now let's leave it for the moment. Our sons are growing up. Oh, speaking of which, did we find any more women? We didn't. Still down on women. What a pity. Only we could find some women to marry. Why are there no women in the New World? Is this what it's like in America? Nothing but thousands of men as far as the eye can see. There, we managed to pass that. It increases the fiber crops here. And tobacco where? Here, I believe it is. Yes. This is the tobacco. It is increasing. We just need the hops to increase. We're going to cut back on our stability spending. We're actually going to accept some of the cultures that are around. Who's the biggest culture that isn't in our culture group? We've got these... No, I ran out of prestige while I was looking. How horrible. We're going to tolerate this Lupian, not Lupian, Muncie culture. Basically, the only one we can tolerate without going over our limit. Whoa, our ally, well, the guys we were trying to vassalize have ended up at war. With whom? Ooh, they're being attacked by our fellow Elysians. Do we want to even get involved? Who started the war? It seems our friend is the attacker, and he wants to take their capital of these tributaries of our fellow Elysians. I guess we'll help a little. We are going to have to watch out for our fellow Elysians, because they actually know how to fight, and they have a suitably large army, unlike other people. Where are they going? We easily dealt with them, though. Our fellow Elysians do have a fort, though, which will... Oh, wait, no, there we go. He just forced them to release all their vassals. That's quite good. Now there's a load of vassals kind of in this area. We've finished integrating that province. Let's increase our diplomatic endeavors a little bit, just to see if that pushes our friend into becoming our vassal. There we go. We've done it. We'll vassalize them. Perfect. Do any of these new countries that were spawned, are they willing to accept vassalization? It's unlikely. No, none of them are Hellenics. They all hate us. Oh well. Next up, we're going to declare war on this rather big nation here. Scoop them up. Again, we don't have a CB, so it's just going to be a no CB war. Oops, I accidentally raised our naval levies instead of our army levies. An easy mistake to make. The natives actually thought they could defeat us and so attacked, but we showed them otherwise. We'll occupy this smaller nation first. Really, the smart thing to do would be separate peace these guys, because if we separate peace them, it means we can take their gold. And there we go. There's very few tribes or nations left in Elysium now. It's kind of just us, the people that were spawned out of our friend over there, and also these guys, but they don't count. They're not part of what is considered Elysium, or at least what we need to form Elysium. We're still 67 locations away. Once we conquer everyone, it's really just going to be a colonizing game, where we sit back and just colonize and try to deal with any rebellions that happen, and they will definitely happen. Ooh, we had a daughter be born. We're going to need daughters, because we're going to marry them to other people in the hopes of breeding more women for our mainline to marry. Sounds horrible, but that's basically what we're doing. Since we're never actually going to get the institutions over here, it doesn't really, we're really just going to research these options that we have here. I'd really like to grab local infrastructure to reduce the proximity costs. Outside of that, I guess there's nothing really bad here, so we'll just grab everything. Oops, we accidentally went into debt without me noticing. Really, we're just going to wait for our truce to expire with these southern countries, and then we'll all just jump down on them. So for now, we're just going to sit back, let the money roll in, try and colonize things as fast as possible, and really just live in peace. We can finally remove the patrimonialism government reform. So now we'll see for real whether removing it does remove our current parliament or not. I'm interested to find out. So we could go for royal decree, which will give us 10 crown power, but personally I'm for privy council for that extra tax efficiency. Unfortunately, it is going to push us towards decentralization, but it's not a big deal, right? It's going to cost us way stability to switch out, but that's a minor thing. Looks like we did keep our assembly parliament just as planned, and now we reclaim one of our cabinet positions that we lost. One thing we can do is we can assign a cabinet position to settle the frontier. I've never actually tried doing it, so maybe we should try it. See how it works. We'll click on this guy. We'll assign this guy, I guess, to it. We'll see how it goes. The expansion will take 10 years. So we send a guy, but the cabinet member doesn't count. What happens if we assign a cabinet member? Does that make a difference? It doesn't seem to. Oh well, guess we'll wait and see. Finished our colony up here, not to be confused with the settlement thing we're doing over there. So we'll immediately start colonizing another territory. No reason to delay. How close are we to forming Elysium? We're still 65 provinces away. It's going to be quite a while, but you know, we're not in a rush. We had the temporary insanity of monarch event, and now our ruler officially has 0 in every stat. You didn't think it was possible, but here it is. He's well advised though. Our heir has come of age, and look at those stats. 90, 87, 68 isn't that great, but how did this guy with 0 and everything, and his wife, who's pretty close to 0, produce this? I know he was a prodigy, but still. How? Unfortunately, there's no one for him to marry, because there's no women in America. Hopefully our ruler dies soon so that our much better child can take the throne. All right, it's about time, so we're going to start annexing our vassal. Oops, not send officers, annex. Our truce with our lesser partners is also gone now. We are quite low on stability though, but who cares really? We could just jump down on them. Once they're gone, they're gone. So we don't necessarily need to worry that much about stability. It'd be nice if they all allied with each other so that we could conquer them all in one move. Doesn't like we're going to be that lucky. I'd say 3 wars is probably what's required. Our fellow Elysians also have a fort, and that's important to keep in mind. We've also got to keep an eye on the rebellion. The rebellions are going to happen. We're not going to be able to stop them, because we can't convert the people fast enough, even if we cored the land fast enough. Our second son came of age. He's nowhere near as good as his elder brother, but you know, he'll do now. Right, we're going to declare war. Well, actually, we finished our colony in Doi. Should we start another one straight away? It's going to be quite expensive. Do we have the income? All right, as discussed, we're just going to jump down on these guys. One thing I could do if I was smarter is I would have rushed for Deus Volt. That's no. Deus Vult, whatever it's called. And I would have used the casus belli there, but I'm not smarter. Thinks twice, I don't even think once. We're just going to attack. That's all I know how to do. One thing we're actually going to do is put our ruler in charge of the army, because we kind of want him to die, right? Leading the army leads to his death. You know, we'd be fine with that. Out of all the things we would be fine with, that is one of them. Except our vassal crossed the border and looks like they already defeated them. Or did they? Yeah, they've already been defeated. Thanks, vassal. You solved the war, but not what I wanted from the war. Oh well. Take as much money as we can and all their land. We've gotten our first... Actually, this isn't our rebellion. This is a rebellion against our vassal. How humorous. Guess we'll help him out. They probably won't need our help, though. Nope, looks like they've already won before we even got there. There we go. Annexation completed of our small vassal. We gained a load of money from conquering them. I guess that was their treasury. Do you inherit vassals' treasuries? I don't remember that, but I guess it's a thing now. Was it all? Maybe it's something this mod did. I definitely don't remember that happening in the main game. Maybe this whole time I just hadn't noticed. But more importantly, there's women in our country now. Oh god, yes. We're going to marry all of them to our son in the hopes that he will breed and create more Ubermenches. Now, since we've gained a little bit more money, let's start colonizing somewhere else. How close are we to forming Elysium? We're about halfway there. Looks like our settlement of this place finished. So how did it work? Does it just give us the whole location? Let's see. A few years ago, he was sent to this place, transferred the province to his homeland, although he remains governor of the settled land, now under our full administration. Yeah, it just does give us complete control. Does it core the land? It doesn't fully core it, it looks like. It does put some of our people in the land, though. Not enough for us to become full cores, though. It's quite nice, I guess. It does take 10 years, though. And I wonder if it's just better to do something else with those 10 years. Oh, finally, our ruler died. We now have our very high stat ruler in charge. Boom. That was easy. Immediately just gives massive bonuses for everything. And he's even managed to have a few children with his many native wives. One of our members of our family came of age, though. Who should we marry her to? Let's just marry her to the guy in the country with the best stats. This guy wearing this hat. Wait a minute. How'd this Japanese man get here? I guess he's here now, and he does have the best stats. I guess he can marry our sister. I didn't bring him here. I don't know where he came from. But he's here now, and that's what matters. It's good to see the Japanese contributing to our colonization. We're about to face rebellion, but that's inevitable. I don't think it's really possible to... I guess if we vassal swarmed, but, you know, we always vassal swarm. I didn't feel like vassal swarming today. But yes, it's almost impossible, it feels like, to keep the vassals in check, just because there's so... to keep the tribes in check, because you can't really core the land and convert them fast enough. These rebellions shouldn't be a big deal. Remember, the only fort that exists in the world is ours and our cousins to the south, who we've still left alive for the moment, because we're in no rush to murder them. Go, Japanese man. And there we go. Peace is here. I'm not actually going to de-raise my levies, because we've got a noble rebellion that's about to happen. There it is. But even so, we're the one with the fort. Oh, wait a minute. This caused our colony to fail. Damn you, nobles. Damn you all. Always knew the nobles were out to get us. There we go, the rebels are defeated. We're going to experience another rebellion in a little while. We could slam down on them using our cabinet actions, but I'd rather call the locations. Since all of our colonies have now been stopped, we'll need to set up more. Problem is, we need money. Money is hard to come by in the new world, especially when we're not investing in our country. But It's not a big deal. We'll start colonizing this guy down here once we have the money to do so. Ooh, a new woman has appeared. We'll marry her immediately. We now have the max amount of wives we can have, so if we haven't found any more women, we'll marry them to other members of our dynasty. It's only fair our brothers get some wives. And by brothers, I mean one single brother. I want to destroy the southern tribes, well, southern peoples, but I want to wait for these 2 rebellions to trigger first, so that we don't have a massive rebellion behind us when we're at war. Our sister has come of age. Let's marry her to that Japanese guy as well. He can have both our sisters as his wives and produce high stat people. Here we go. The first rebellion. We'll send our Japanese man to lead the armies to defeat them. Thinking about it, we are going to crack down on some of these rebels, just so while we're at war, so they don't cause any trouble. Alrighty, we've dealt with the rebellion. The next rebellion can't trigger because we have a cabinet action on it. We're just going to wait a little bit for our casus belli to be finished, and then we'll attack our fellows in the south. It seems our fellows have actually insulted us, so we could just declare war right now without having to wait for the casus belli. Now I feel like such a fool. Raise our armies. They do have a fort, which sets them apart from everyone we've fought so far. We're actually going to I think they have a galley, don't they? Or something like it. Where can I see? Yes, they have 1 galley. So if we send our navy in, we have no galley. Well, actually, no, we have 2 galleys. I thought we didn't have any. Surely that means we'll win. But this fellow in charge of our navy will raise our naval levies and we'll try and take control of the sea. We'll put our favorite Japanese man in charge of our army. We should be able to defeat our fellows. There we go. The fact that we have to siege down a fort means this war's going to take a lot longer than it would ordinarily do. In fact, he's got 2 forts. He must have built another one when we weren't looking. Oh well, I guess we'll just chill out and siege the fort. Unfortunately, they've gone deep into the defensive, which is going to reduce the time it takes to, is going to increase the time it takes to siege down. Should we switch out our Japanese man for someone with a higher admin? I think we will, just to slightly increase the rate of sieging. There we go, finally. The war is over. We'll full annex our fellows. Unfortunately, they actually took these guys here as a tributary, not as a vassal, so we couldn't annex them. What we're going to do is, we're just going to cancel the tributary status, and then we're going to attack them when we can. I thought I annexed these guys. No, I did annex them, didn't I? Yeah, they're going to despawn a second now. Ready. Disband all the levies, send these guys home. We don't really need to spend money on diplomats much anymore because there's not really anybody to diplomate with. Did we gain more women from conquering this country? No, we did not. How disappointing. Oh well. There's only 2 countries left to conquer that are in our scoring zone that we need to form Elysium, so we'll just conquer those 2. Let's demolish these forts. We don't need those. A woman in our country has come of age. I think she's the sister of one of our many wives. We'll marry her to our brother. We've also gained a casus belli on these people. We just need to wait for a diplomat to appear, and then we'll destroy them. I'm not even going to bother to raise all of our armies. Just a few should be enough. Oh, these guys actually built a fort. Horrible, disgusting. How could they? Fort building should be banned on an international scale so we don't have to put up with taking ages to siege things. Oh well. Finally. Hopefully this is the last fort we have to siege in this video. Another woman has come of age. Perfect. She can marry our brother. The infinite cycle. Our heir has come of age. He's not as good as us, but that's, inevitable because our ruler is really good. We've also gained a casus belli on the last tribe in the area. We're going to annihilate them, which I would like to say would be the last war we're going to fight, but we're probably going to experience a few rebellions before the end. In fact, there's one that's not far off now. And there we go. Peace has now been created in glorious Elysium. No longer will these native tribes try to live in our lands. They will now live as part of us. And on that note, were there any women in that nation we comment? There were not. Ready? I'm not going to de-raise our levies for the moment. We're going to just gather them because there's going to be a rebellion in literally 2 months. So we'll gather in preparation and then immediately stomp them. There they are, right on time. The one nice thing about rebellions is we can squeeze them for gold, because they always have around 10 gold. If we choose not to just annex Revolta, we can just take an extra 10 gold when we conquer them. It's literally free money. And we also get a bunch of slaves, which is in itself also free money. A woman has come of age. I guess we'll marry her to our son. Our brother already has 2 wives. Can we not marry her? Where is she? There she is. Is she too close? She's our daughter. I almost didn't recognize her because she kind of looked native. I guess we'll marry her to... The Japanese guy is no longer our guy with the highest stats. This guy is, so I guess we'll marry her to him. I didn't notice, but if you look at our son, you can kind of see he's got a huge mohawk pointing out of his hat. I mean, if that's the way you want to do things. Another daughter has come of age. We'll marry her again to the guy with the very high stats. Another rebellion. But remember, rebellions are just free gold. Oh, I keep actually raising my naval levies. They are not the ones we want. We want army levies. Guys with swords. There they go. Thank you for your 10 gold. How many locations are we off forming Elysium? 27. Going to be a little while. I think we're going to start doing those big colonies that we could do. Settle the frontier. We need to make sure we do it in places that are actually required for mission. Well, not the mission, the forming, as it were. We'd like to pick a place with a lot of locations as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, now here's a good son. 99, 72, 72. He's better than his father in admin and military. The only place he falls short is in diplomacy. We'd like him to be our heir. Unfortunately, he's our second son, so it's unlikely unless our first one just dies. We could always change to a different succession law, like favored son. That would cost a lot of stability and legitimacy, and it's not going to matter, you know? Having a slightly better ruler isn't going to change anything in the short or long term for us. It's done. I was hoping we could get it done before the 14th century, and we managed to by 2 years. We can now form Elysium. Let's just do it. Are you sure? I'm very sure. We're now the Duchy of Elysium. Unfortunately, it didn't upgrade us to a kingdom, so we are still a duchy. It probably should upgrade us to a kingdom, it would make sense. Got a cool new flag, as well as a nice red color. I'm not sure if there's any events that happens. I'm going to pause just to see. Alrighty, we've waited a year or two and nothing's happened. I was hoping for an event that would merge the culture group. The reason why I think that might be possible, because if we look at the culture group, there's actually this Elysian culture, which doesn't exist. And I was thinking that the 3 distinct cultures would merge into it, which would make sense, but maybe not. Oh well, it doesn't particularly matter. I think we'll leave it here. I probably won't continue this campaign just because there's not much content in the mod at this point, but I'm looking forward to there being more content. If you want to play this mod yourself, I'll post the link down in the description. Go give it a try. But for now though, this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching and see you next time.